So how to put the two hands together for Edelweiss with the umcha style is again the same recommendation applies, which means do it in very, very small block, only 2 chords at a time. So I would only do this much, and then perhaps this much. So repeat each 2 bars many, many, many times. And of course, this goes without saying that you have practiced your left hand umcha style by singing while you're doing that, the entire song. And you did practice your right hand very smoothly until you could play rather fast, right? And the left hand maybe not as fast, but at the speed at least of your song, and sing your right hand. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, like that. And your brain is able to sing, and your left hand still keeps changing chords without problems. You have to get that before you start putting your 2 hands together, just like in the page that I have explaining how to practice. Then only do you put your 2 hands together very slowly. And that's all I would do. If you are still hesitating, then I would repeat until you could do it slow but without hesitation. Then I would go to the second circle area and do C to F chord. Right? And only then do I go to the next 2 bars and do maybe just that. Just get to that first note of this 3rd bar. C chord, A minor in root position, D minor in root position. So the left hand has to move. And finally G7. It's a slow song, so there's no need to be practicing this fast. Notice that I choose in the umcha version, I choose the root position because listen how it sounds like if I play the A. Whenever you play a chord in an inversion, it makes the chord less strong. And when I move the chord to the root position, that bass gives it an oomph. Sounds better than the inversion. But if you want to keep your A minor in the inversion, that's fine too. I mean, it's good as well. No problem there. But again, the trick is to really just practice one small bit at a time. So let's pretend that you did practice the 2 bars and you got that first line, the entire first line really well, because you have to put your puzzle together and be able to do at least one phrase really well, and then the other phrase really well. So bar 4, going to F chord, and I will repeat that until I can get to the speed that I want. So pause the video and do that. Only then you go, okay, I'm going to have my my next 4 bars. So we did 2 bars at a time, and now we're doing 4 bars. I'm going to do this one. And repeat until you get to that speed. Just pause the video, work on your own speed until you get to that speed. And only then you practice ending number 2. Right? The ending number 2 is very similar. And again, always go back to a very slow speed the first time. And I will repeat that until you get to this speed. And then B section. Now, B section is a little harder because you have a note that falls right in between. So you have to practice slow to get that rhythm correct. So it's left hand. And that's all I do. Just to make sure that my rhythm is correct, that is why I only did, even though it's the same chord, it should be easy, right? I only did one bar plus one note. Sometimes when the rhythm is difficult, you have to take even a smaller chunk, not even 2 bars. 1 bar and 1 beat. 1, 2, and 3, 1. I'm counting because you're supposed to practice your rhythm on the side and know that this is 1, 2 falls here, and when you're playing, actually that's the end on the 2, between the 2 and the 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then 1 again for this first note. 1, 2, and 3. Because the left hand is in between this right hand right here, right? And get that rhythm correct slowly. 1, 2, and 3, 1. And repeat that until you get to the speed that you want. Okay, now I can go back and still go slow, but now I can go back and keep going for 2 bars this time. So when there is some difficulty like a rhythm, I do even less than just 2 bars. Now I can do 2 bars. Still slow. And the difficulty is crossing over here. So I would practice not just 2 bars, but with the technical difficulty of crossing your 2 in the right hand over here. So 2 bars plus 1 beat. Repeat until you get to this speed. Okay, so do that repeat in a slow tempo. And if you get there and you feel like you can continue, then there's a difficulty of coming back to the thumb on the right hand. And I repeat that entire 4 bars many, many times. Now I got 4 bars, but I have to repeat a lot and be careful. My mind knows exactly what to focus on. Here I'm focusing on rhythm, and here I'm focusing on crossing my right hand 2 over and coming back to the thumb. Often it just takes me as a teacher putting a star or a sticker, a colorful sticker or highlighter, a color of some kind, and the student has their mind focused on the right thing. Because your mind cannot focus on more than one thing at a time. That's research has proven that. So you have to identify for yourself and use your critical thinking as you're practicing how to put your 2 hands together. Sometimes the mind needs to focus on rhythm. Sometimes it's the left hand. Sometimes it's the right hand fingering. There's something to focus on. So this B section is harder. So do repeat that a lot until you can get the entire bar, 4 bars. At that speed, right? Because that's the speed of your song. It's not a fast song, but it's still fast if you consider all the difficulty. And then you practice the next phrase of 4 bars the same way. I would only do 2 bars plus 1 beat and stop there. Slowly like that until you repeat and get to this speed. the last one. So I would not practice like this. Where's that chord? Where's that chord? And then here. Right? Do not practice as if it's in your head. I know that in your head you think of this as one chord and then you prepare for the next chord. But in music, we are practicing while preparing. So you're practicing your brain to kind of see ahead. That is why you need to practice slow. And you're already sort of planning. Your brain's starting to think about the next chord right around here. Same thing here. It's thinking about the next chord right around here. So do not practice fast and stopping all the time. In order to get that phrase, you have to start with going here without problem. And then maybe this one is causing problem. Then just practice this. Because there's a switch of finger. Here your finger was 1-3 on these two notes, and here your finger is 1-2. Right? So left hand has some difficulty. And then here. And until my switch here in the left hand is easy and comfortable, I wouldn't do the 4 bars. So just be very, very patient. Do these 2 bars and then the 4 bars. And the same thing with this one. Notice that both hands are sort of in C inversion position, E, G, C. But the pinky in the right hand stretches. And the left hand has C7 chord. And repeat these 2 bars again and again and again. Just 2 bars at a time. And then I overlap sometimes and I say, well, then do these 2 bars. Right? Then perhaps you can add the 2 together. After many repeats, pause the video, and finally you're going to try for 3 bars. And then you'll find the last one. Oh, that's easy. I can just add it. Right? So very, very small chunk at a time. And then this one is where my left hand is back in the C root position with the familiar G7. But if you prefer that inversion I was teaching you before, you can also do the umcha that in that inversion. So it's C/E, inversion 1, and the G7 would be F, G, B. F is at the bottom. Notice that F is at the bottom can also be played earlier like this one. It all depends on what's in your right hand to make it sound good. So that's called the arranger's task, is to arrange it. So I'm telling you, if you want this inversion, C/E would be like this, and the G7/F would be like this. And of course, then we would have to come back to the same inversion of the C chord. And then you can just do that same inversion at the end, broken for both hands. But if you are having difficulty finding 1-5-7-1 that way, then do what's written on the page, except it's just umja style, which we did practice, because this is basically ending number 2 up there. And that would be how you put 2 hands together for the umja style Edelweiss.